First of all, I would say our plan for Europe is a very long-term one. We see Europe as a very important market for us, and also we see this market will have to take time to develop. So we do have the patience and the long-term commitment. What happened is tariff is something that we had to deal with. It puts a lot of pressure on our business model, but as a long-term focused brand, I think we need to find every possible way to address and make ourselves competitive. So that's something that we had to do as a company.
Does that mean that you will reflect and impact some of those tariffs onto the prices of your cars that you sell in Europe?
Well, I think it will take a number of areas for us to figure out what's the best strategy. That will include what type of models we introduce to Europe. That will involve what type of business models we will have to with our partners, and also potentially looking at pricing as well. So there's a number of areas we are looking at, try to optimize. But our belief is still try to produce the most competitive product for European customers.
And about manufacturing in Europe is something that you said in the past you were looking at. Is that putting more pressure on you and potentially starting to do that now to avoid those tariffs?
Well, I think having local manufacturing capability is something a company with a long-term plan and long-term vision has to do. It's not because of tariff, it's not because short-term policy changes. So we do have a long-term plan to be more local. And what type of methods, what kind of time frame, those are things that we analyze actively at the moment.
How do you see overall the demand for EVs in Europe? Of course, it's been weak this year. How do you see things going into next year? Could potential lower interest rates in Europe, for example, be a factor of the market potentially rebounding, or do you see things continuing to be tough in Europe?
Well, I think first of all, I would say EV transition in Europe is a long-term trend. I think Europe has a very strong climate-focused agenda and has a timetable for meeting that agenda. So we are very, very hopeful, and also we're very optimistic that the continued electrification is a long-term trend. We're not swayed by short-term pauses or short-term, interruptions. So we will plan for the long term, not the short term.
Let me ask you about your home market. Of course, you're facing very tough competition there, price war as well. So how are things looking for you and for your brand in particular in that very tough Chinese market?
Well, first of all, you are very correct. Chinese market is the largest, but also the most competitive EV market in the world. But I think we have done pretty well this year. We actually just launched our previous product, the Mona MO3, which is, I would say, the absolute success, which has led to record monthly delivery for us last month. And with the introduction of the P7 Plus behind me in Paris Auto Show, we are hoping for another blockbuster launch in our suite. So we are very, very optimistic about our momentum as well as capturing larger share of the EV market.
And how is the price war impacting your margin? The last quarterly numbers, you posted a net loss. So how are things evolving on that front? Is the price war so tough that you just have to eat into your margin at the moment to just win market share? I
think fierce competition, also price competition, will have to make you stronger and more efficient as a company. Actually, we are very happy to see that our margins actually improving amid all these competition. If you look at year to date, we have steadily increased our vehicle margins. But also as a company, we are very different from other OEMs because we also receive revenue from technology. For example, our partnership with Volkswagen contributes meaningful revenue and very high margin to us as well. So as a company, I think we actually are looking at a very healthy gross margin, which with volume growth will lead us to profitability overall.